34 years he's been doing this show. It never stopped. Even when the movie came out, he's been doing it for 34 years brilliantly. He loves it. You know, there's something about being on stage that performers really like. I've spoken to so many actors that are brilliant in movies, but they say, you know what? When you're up on stage, there's nothing like it. And you can tell, you know, the way Chazz does this thing. Absolutely amazing. So if you haven't seen the show, catch it. Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is blessed on this end, and we give God all the praise, honor, and glory for that. Remember that. And subscribe, people. We're on a march to 1 million. We thank you very much. We really appreciate those of you that are subscribing. We appreciate viewers too. You're helping us get to that 1 million, whenever that might come. It's thanks to you and encourages us and really motivates us to give you the best possible content that we could. So subscribe, you get alerts, you know what's happening. MichaelFranzese.com, my crew, my inner circle. I thank all of you. We have over 21,000 people in this now, and they're doing great. And I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Jump in, see if it's for you. I guarantee you won't be sorry. Coming out of this pandemic, people are loving it. We're going into business deals, life skills deals, encouraging people. They're loving it. We're building a beautiful community, kind of like a legacy piece to me. So, MichaelFranzese.com. What are we doing today? My dear friend, about 2 weeks ago, Chazz Palminteri, calls me up and he says, hey, we're bringing a Bronx Tale, the one-man show, to your city. Great. So they come in, a great theater, the Segerstrom Theater, I think it's in Costa Mesa, beautiful theater, seats 1,700. It's like old style, goes way up in the air, you know, with booths, really beautiful. And so I go that night with my wife, my daughter, my partner Kurt, his girl. We all go, we got great seats, we sit down. Now I got to tell you this, I've been trying to see this show for quite some time. Schedules didn't match because he brings this all over the country. He's been doing it for 34 years. Now, let me tell you something, people. If you can do anything for 34 years and do it as well as Chazz has done this, it's amazing. It's remarkable. And for those of you that don't know, the movie The Bronx Tale, which I love, I've reviewed that more than once. As a matter of fact, Chazz and I sat down and we talked about it together. But the movie The Bronx Tale was born out of the one-man show. And the way it has, Chazz wrote it, he directs it, and he plays every single part. Now, the parts that you saw in the movie, for those of you that have seen it, Chazz does all of those parts in the one-man show. He's the one guy. There's no video behind him. There's some music that he puts all the way through. But let me tell you this. I've been a speaker for 26 years, and I get up there and I talk and I do my thing. For Chazz to play all those characters with no video, nothing else behind him, no production but music, it's amazing. And he does a brilliant job. And again, he's been doing it for 34 years. The audience that night, they loved it. It was a packed house. It was just wonderful. And now I understand, you know, why Chazz is so brilliant. I mean, I saw him in the movie, but to see him on stage in person, it's a whole different look. It's amazing. I got to tell you this. You know, all the nuggets that, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because most of you have seen the movie, but all the amazing nuggets of wisdom that came out of Chazz's mouth in the movie, that came out of, you know, Calogio's mouth in the movie, you know, Chazz originally wrote into that one-man show. And I don't know if you know this, I think Chazz spoke about it last time, but the way this thing got to be a film, Robert De Niro was sitting in the audience watching the one-man show. And after it was over, he went and saw Chazz in the back and he says, Chazz, you just did a whole movie on stage. And De Niro at that point offered to direct the film. He offered to play Calogio's dad rather than Sonny, the mob guy. And the rest is history. That's how he got it made. And prior to that, Chazz was offered a lot of money, okay, to turn over that script if he wouldn't play the main role. They didn't want him to play the main role because he was an unknown. And they wanted to put, obviously, a star in there. Chazz refused to do it. He held out. And then he got fortunate enough to where Robert De Niro saw the show, and that was it. They got it made from that point. But the one-man show has been going on for 34 years. 34 years. And I got to tell you, he just did a brilliant job. Everybody was so impressed. People laughed when they had a laugh. It got serious at times when it had to be serious. The audience never left him. And that's what really watched me. I'm sitting back there watching from a different perspective because I'm a speaker. I'm on stage. And, you know, it's important that you keep the attention of your audience whenever you're up there. And I knew he normally do an hour. Well, he did 90 minutes, and the audience never left him. Not for a minute. He doesn't take a drink of water. He doesn't do anything to distract his audience, and they stayed with him the whole time. And it was really brilliant. You know, some of the funny parts, I don't know if you remember the movie, you know, some of the great scenes. Remember when they were playing dice, and Cologio had the dice, and he was throwing them for Sonny, and it was just a great scene. And then you had coffee cake, and you had the whale in there, and, you know, Sonny makes one statement. He says, I don't want that face, coffee cake, looking at those dice, put them in the bathroom. I love that scene. And the way he did it on stage was just amazing. You know, the other great scene was when he's telling Cologio about the girl that he puts in the car, his girlfriend. You know, if she doesn't come around and open the door for you, get rid of her. You know, that's the Sonny sign. Amazing. He does it on stage. You saw where all of these things came out of and got into the movie, and it was really so enjoyable. And I'll tell you, you know, I have a lot of respect for Chazz as an actor, but after seeing this one-man show, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. I mean, he's playing all over the country. You got to make time and see it. You're not going to be disappointed. I guarantee you it will hold your attention the entire way through. And I got a special surprise for you today. I can get into this really deep, but I got a special surprise. Nobody knows this better than the man I'm going to introduce you to now. Brace yourself, sit down, because now the good part really comes. Come on in, my friend. All right, so I told you I had a special guest coming in. You heard the review I did of Bronx Tale, the one-man show. Who better to sit down with than the one-man show himself? Chazz.
Michael.
Great to have you here, brother.
Good to be here.
I got to tell you this. I just did a review of the show. I told it how it came about, that, you know, you called me up, you were going to be in my town.
Right.
Took my family there, and we were blown away.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, blown away. And I got to say this. Anybody that can do anything that well for that length of time, 34 years, you're continuously doing this show throughout the movie, the whole bit, is amazing. To do anything that good for that long
thanks.
Is just amazing.
You know, it's something, you know, I wrote this thing when I was desperate. I was trying to just get an agent at the time. I just knew it would be great. I knew in my heart that I said, I was like kind of driven. You know how it is when you got, people go, how did you turn down all that money? How did you write this? I go, you know what? Divine intervention. I don't have an answer. I said it was like God on my shoulder, just saying, keep going, just keep moving, 1 foot at a time. And each day I would write and write and write, and then I would re-edit, write, and then at the end of almost a year, I had this 90-minute show where I played all the parts, and I had this idea where I wasn't only going to do you know, the one-man show was going to be like a movie. I was going to, every time I clapped my hands, it was like cut, cut, cut. And people going, it'll never work, you know, this is crazy, because they didn't know what it was. And I said, it's in my head, I think it'll work, you know. And it did work, and it broke me, and
well, a couple of things I got to say, because was it about 90 minutes?
Yeah, 85.
Okay, you didn't lose anybody for the entire 90 minutes, and I noticed you didn't take a drink of water, you didn't stop, you didn't hesitate. What I also said, you know, I expected that maybe there would be some video behind you. There was nothing.
Nothing.
Music and a few spots, but you held that audience. You had a tight grip on them from start to finish.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And just with the chair.
With the chair.
With the
chair.
chair.
Only prop. One chair.
One chair. That's it. Just one chair. Because that's the way I originally did it. And when I came to Broadway later on, when I did it again on Broadway, we had a big set. You know, we had a backdrop. We had a neighborhood. When I decided to go back and do it again, I said, you know what? I want to do it like I originally did it. And everybody was like, are you crazy? I said, no. I said, because if it worked then, it'll work now.
Yeah.
And it does.
You know, and it followed, I shouldn't say it followed, the movie followed the show almost to a T.
Yeah.
I mean, the dialogue, the characters, everything was exactly the same.
Yeah, well, that was really, like, I have to say, that was the, you know, the incredible genius of Bob De Niro, who just, he kept saying, it ain't broke, don't fix it, leave it alone. He kept just following, because he saw the one-man show, he goes, hey, man, you know, it's beautiful. Let's put that up there, open it up a little bit in certain spots. He goes, just write it. And I was blessed to have him. He goes, you just got to get the right person. It'll work. And you know what? Sean was right. You know, I was wrong. I think it was my ego. No one else could do this like me. We did it. I wrote the musical, and it's a hit musical. So the writing is just there, you know.
Yeah, and for those of you that have seen the movie and haven't seen the show, Chazz plays every single character in the movie. He does it all.
Right.
It's a one-man show. And brilliantly, I got to say it. It's not because you're here. I'm just it was brilliant. I mean, it really
Thank you. People don't realize that's what De Niro saw, the one-man show. Then we made the movie. So I tell people, if you saw the movie and if you saw the musical, come and see the original one-man show, because people say they like that more than the other two. All you got to do is go to ChazzPalminteri.net, and my schedule is there for this year. I'll be at a city near you. Just go to ChazzPalminteri.net. That's it.
Yeah, it's all over the country.
Yes.
And you love playing this. I mean,
I love it.
34 years, you got to love it.
34 years on and off. That was my 900th and 90th show, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So I have 10 more shows to hit 1,000.
That might be a record.
For one-man shows, probably Hal Holbrook's got the one-man show record. Yeah.
Well, you're second. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably Hal Holbrook. He did it for 50 years, so.
Anyway, listen, I can't compliment you enough.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
And if you haven't seen the one-man show, go on. What's the website?
ChazzPalminteri.net.
.net. It's all over the country. It'll be in a city near you at some point in time.
Right.
You got to see it. If you saw the movie, you haven't seen the one-man show, it's terrific. You got to see them both. So what can I say? You know I love it.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, brother.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Special surprise today. My dear friend Chazz Palminteri was here, and we talked about Bronx Tale, the one-man show. And remember what I said, 34 years he's been doing this show. It never stopped. Even when the movie came out, he's been doing it for 34 years brilliantly. He loves it. You know, there's something about being on stage that performers really like. I've spoken to so many actors that are brilliant in movies, but they say, you know what? When you're up on stage, there's nothing like it. And you can tell. You know, the way Chazz does this thing, absolutely amazing. So if you haven't seen the show, catch it. Also, Chazz has a great podcast. He talks to so many different people. I think you'll love it. Tune into his podcast. And I got a special surprise for you. For those of you that didn't see this whole interview, Chazz and I are going to be doing another podcast together. And it's going to be Machiavelli and the mob. And we've got some things that, you know, we're going to give you some insight into things that I guarantee you've never heard before. And Chazz is brilliant. He's a student of Machiavelli, as am I. You know, when you go into prison, you read that the book, The Prince. And obviously, I have my book coming out, A Mafia Democracy. And in that book, you're going to see how our government is now taking on a Machiavellian ideology. Chazz and I are going to really explain that and other things to you. I know you're going to enjoy it. So that's it for today. How do I always leave you? Same way. Be safe, and I really mean it. It's getting dangerous out there in some of these cities, man. I read the newspaper every day, online, getting dangerous. Be safe. You ladies, you walk into a parking lot, make sure you know what's going on in the perimeter areas around you. Be healthy. We just came out of a pandemic. Watch yourself. Get into the gym, work out, eat right. Don't get overweight. That's the key. And yes, God bless all of you. And I do mean that because I really appreciate all of you that tune in. Be safe. Be healthy. God bless. Yes, I'll see you next time.